Hey, um, I was like thinking about if anybody was like curious on just how exactly they go about sort of doing comedy sketches or what I call exhibits. I renamed it because there's stand-up comedy and then there's comedy sketches or sketch comedy, sketch comedian. And so I was like, well, why not like give it a better name? Well, since they already have art galleries, why don't you just use the exhibit part? Because like, you're like, I don't know. You're not an habit. You're an exhibit, right? It's like the, it's like the purified form of getting to know somebody without taking off your clothes. And so it's just something that I liked, and well, that's when I was, it was a few years ago that I named it that. But I mean, if you're like wanting to know just exactly what it really is, like to try and put it together, why is Dane Cook capable of like doing it so like um so easily, and how and why is there a Dane Cook? Dane Cook is well, I always refer to things also in the way of there's the dream world. Now everybody is in the dream world, and I always think of the dream world as a conference that everybody like is shouting or voting or choosing. Now the final product is what you live out for the next 24 hours or whatever, whenever you wake up. You don't remember what it is the vote was, but whatever you ended up doing that day was your vote. If you're a nobody, it's because you were voted and you agreed that you were going to be a nobody and doing nothing day. If you were a somebody, you ended up doing something radical that day. Now, it always takes small steps by your forcing to maneuver your own body, by changing your own fate and destiny, by doing the hard work. Read a book, or sing something, or listen to music, or watch a movie. If you're not going to feed yourself more paradigms are the beginning, the middle, and the ending of any given situation, depending on any given person in the whole world, and every person is in a different place, and a different place has different cultures, and different cultures have different reactions. Now, some people would think that in this country, thinking about that person's scenario in that country would be a paradigm shift, or wow, I never thought of it going that way. Well, that's an easy way to consider what a paradigm is. A paradigm is basically a different circumstance or situation of something that you normally would have thought would have gone a different way. So it's like there's your normal situation and then something that you weren't expecting. And so it's a different paradigm, the beginning and the middle and the end. So whenever you want to thinking about what it is, you're thinking about Dane Cook. Well, what is Dane Cook? Well, Dane Cook is somebody that envisions different paradigms at any given time because he's universally multilateral and talented. He's an unchosen actor in Hollywood, or a floater. Now, because he could see in the dream world that they were going to collapse Hollywood, everybody in New York City or where he's from, the New England area, which is basically like Jersey and Boston. So that area, they basically wanted something to prove, and they elected him to be a floating exhibit if Hollywood didn't want to crash itself. So he constantly was given encouragement in the dream world that he wasn't going to be attacked, he wasn't going to be hindered, he wasn't going to be bothered. Your brain is your palace, and whatever you can come up with, Dane. Now, this is nothing he would remember when he wakes up. He just knows that he's gifted and talented. He puts fractions together or situations together, and he creates a fearless attitude, and then creates a false reality. But he walks in it like it's an unmade movie. So he's making technically sections of movies in Hollywood that never got put in a movie and isn't going to get put in a movie. And he's just there to demonstrate where actors should be, being more ballsy, being more upfront, being more careless, and not following by the same boundaries that Hollywood puts on themselves because they're from Beverly Hills, and there's technically a different status quo or meet and greet, levels of respect and disrespect calibrations out of California that was different in most other states. They do that because they were born and bred from, also at the same time being from Hollywood, but from all the different levels of wealth that founded all of California. So the genealogy is extraordinary wealth. Now this paves the way for status quo, and that means sort of when you're at a lunch and then you don't respect your elder in a particular way, he takes a lifetime vendetta on you and creates a false laws of mannerisms or manners that you need to follow, or you'll be in even more trouble, which then bleeds into the movie industry, and you have things that you know that they can never do. Everybody knows that when you watch movies in Hollywood, they never know how to drop the F-bomb correctly, and they always never they always will say fucker. It's just, and then whenever it's going to be, and everybody can see it, but whenever there's going to be a movie about where they're going to give them the allowance to do the F word, it's always fucker, 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 fucker. And it's just, everybody knows that nobody says the word fucker in the real world. They just don't. They say fuck off. They say that's fucked up. They say fuck that. They just say it, but it's a little bit more, with a little bit more authority in Hollywood. I mean, it's always just sort of just like, we're going to be dropping the F-bomb here. Everybody just say it, the F-bomb. And it's always trying to watch rich people say the F word without actually any sort of like pump to it. It's just like fucker, 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 fucker. And they always know that they were given the allowance before the movie started because they say it 12 times in 2 minutes. It's just like, okay, the director said we've got given the green light and we're gonna be dropping the F-bomb here. I'm not comfortable talking that way. Well, get comfortable, and I mean quick. And then you see really sophisticated people given the green light to say the F word, and it's just like, what do you need? What do you have when your kids are watching that and they don't know how to drop the F-bomb correctly in social situations? You have Dane Cook. And when he talks and he puts certain emphases in certain areas of his sentences, in the next section, in the next world of Hollywood, you know how to drop the F-bomb. It's just sort of like anything that you were missing in all of your scenes in any Hollywood movie, Dane Cook corrects in his small little scenes. And so that's just to give you a little bit of an idea. There's anything that wasn't... Here's the concept about why Dane Cook is successful. Dane Cook is successful for all the white boyfriends that doesn't believe that there's any way that he's going to get beat up for saying anything that he's about to say in the next 5 minutes on his way home from wherever it is that he is at. Meaning it's white America, where the Statue of Liberty still thinks that the president is white and has white laws to protect the white man in an 84% white United States of America. And that's basically where it is his confidence comes from. So anything that you see when he's in his show is if Hollywood was rewritten to where they didn't have to ask permission to be cool. Now, the reason why he says it the way he says it is because his girlfriend is going to get fucked by the time that they get back to their house. Because that's my man right there. He is so funny. When he puts emphasis in the right places, when it's an authority of way he delivers certain things. Now, other things that you should take into consideration is not just that it's because it's white America, it's also because the world doesn't technically, in his world of Hollywood, doesn't run on status. So like the wealth or the ancestors that were wealthy and then have a son that's going to do this to your car or do this to your apartment by the time you get back to your place because you didn't smile at him right, or you didn't say, hey, can I suck your dick before I leave? A lot of things that happen in the world of wealth that you should have known to talk to me like that by the clothes that I was wearing. This right here, and then a person that's hooked on pornography and has parents and grandparents that are all extraordinarily wealthy will start to dissect the concept of their metaphorical deliverance of their outfit in front of you when they believe that you should have sucked their dick before you left the party. But you were too busy making all the girls laugh. Where in their world, laughter doesn't even play a role at all. So it's something that you give 10 years after that, not only does it not play a role, but there's no more Hollywood, and then we are all where we're at. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, Um, where the world was going to go, Dane basically did about 5 hours of his all of his different exhibit routines to give everybody a good idea about where they should have went when they all decided not to go that way. And it's there as a learning tool to pick up your pieces and decide to rebuild a Hollywood. And what do we do? I don't know how to be funny. Well, you obviously can see that China is really investing a lot of money in the possibility of trying to invent entire schools to learn how to be funny. Because there's probably going to be some government that takes away everybody's usual way of having sex. Now, there's this, like, two fingers in the middle holding up, and then there's this building out in the middle of China where those two fingers are a building, and then there's two other buildings next to those fingers, like it's Dane Cook's hand way up in the air when he was finishing his routine in Madison Square Garden. And it's like, I can't remember what it's called, but it's I think it's in Quan Kong or King Chong or something like that. Quang Ching, and it's like a mega project, but it's finished. It got finished like a year ago. And but it has one, also his thumb is actually in there too as a laying sideways platform building. But I saw it, I was like, that's Dane Cook's hand. Why is China spending $1 trillion in investing just in Dane Cook's hand symbol? Because everybody needs to try to figure out how to be funny. And what is it to be funny? When is it funny and when is it not funny? And that's kind of why it is I'm making this audio. It's like, now, because there's a lot of kids listening, they're just like, I'm listening. What the fuck is going on here? Okay, all right. You're sitting in the front of the movie theater, let's say, hypothetically, and you're watching this movie, and there's this stupid part that isn't funny to you, because it's obviously trying to be funny. It was a really, like, bullshit line, and it was obviously supposed to, in the screenwrite, it says, and then crowd laughs, and you're like, watching it, you don't laugh because it's supposed to be funny, like in a stupid way, and then the whole crowd behind you laughs. All right, you didn't, so you don't know what it is they've been through to make all of them go, guys, we're supposed to laugh. They're hooked on porn. In fact, their entire life is juices and in and out, and things that they can't explain. In fact, they'll spend their entire brain power devoted to trying to figure out a sex experiment went bad, that they were in control, then they lost control, and then they will replay it 1,000,000 times over to try and figure out the mathematical equation of how it ended the way that it ended. And without the government facility or counselor to go visit at the end of the street, or phone call to dial to say, what the fuck happened when this happens and this happens, and then she said that and then this happened. What happened? It's not about counseling. What do I do? It is literally, I want the legitimate mathematical answer. What happened? So because there's no answer to that, they will think about it all day. They will catch up just in time to laugh so that everybody around them could laugh too, because they're there too. And then where they're in the same pond, they hope that that laughter will actually be the handshake that says, okay, you know that I'm interested in you. I know that you're interested in me. Let's get together and do a sex experiment to try and figure out where it is I fucked up that one. And I'm going to do it, and you won't know when I'm going to do it, but I need to know. And if I have the balls to go into that area again, I'm going to, but I want to see if you do the same outcome that group did, or she did, or he said that, or they did that, or he did that. And I'm not sure if it's going to go that way, but God, do I hope that it does. It bothers me. Save me. It's actually sex to save me from my last sex. And you're not caught up in that. It's also called I'm knee-deep in shit. All of you are knee-deep in shit. So you're not that, and you're just sort of like minding your business, and you're just sort of, you listen to your parents, and then they yell at you a lot, and you spend a lot of time in your room. Well, you're the person I'm basically talking to. They're hoping that I can solve all of their problems someday by the government that listened to my bracelet government that irons out all of their problems by separating everybody that's dangerous from everybody that was a victim, and then rearranging people to go into different neighborhoods and then receive different packages from their government, and then they get happy, and then they learn and read their first book, and then they get their first job that doesn't have any of those same types of people. Then they also get their counseling appointment. The guy says, yeah, well, this is what happened. By that time, the guy had already figured it out, because there's something about a block or it is basically like a particular percentage of danger that is in a person's personality that you invited, that you shouldn't have invited, to partake in things that have to do with flesh and skin. And you allowed him to, with his full background that wasn't disclosed all the way to you, and you didn't know all the way, had all of its hindrances that caused him to do something that is an evolutionary type of person that has been other places and done different sex things, that he only knows why he did that because he's had sex 100,000 times more than this person, but he played like he was just like them. He's in a different level. He went for it. You can't figure it out because you have to have sex literally 100,000 more times. You might have to have a different wealth level. You might have to have a different power player for a parent. You might have to have that extra resort house that his dad secretly told him that we own but don't tell anybody. Doesn't matter, but that girlfriend was smelling something on the dude. That's why you're not supposed to throw it out to anybody at any given time. Because everybody's secrets, the girls have a psychic connection to, not necessarily saying that they know what it is. They could just have a warming sensation on both of their ovaries that's more intense at a certain person, but they don't know what it is. Could be some girls actually get the picture of the goddamn resort. But no girl has ever told anybody that is connected to a news organization that takes it over and then causes it to be suddenly a emergency broadcast system to where everybody gets told that girls are psychic and they can see mental images of a guy's resort, bank account, 25 cars and a spare garage, or some kind of piece of paper that says they own a particular invention. So they're trillionaires. So no one really knows. They know, we don't know. That's just the way it's going to be. And that's why girls are always sensitive to all guys, even guys that are down and out. Because it's just so fucked up in the actual real game of life. So they always say, if you're going to check out, this is you. This is for you. And they'll blow you a kiss. They'll mail you a piece of paper and says, in a perfect world, this is what our sex would be. And that perfect world is the one I've already built. I've already written the entire government. It's got a bracelet attached to everybody. And everybody is in a different place, in a different neighborhood. And there's like, because girls don't like it that they can do what they can do. And they know that some people get left out because they are capable of doing what they can do. And there's always the problem where they have to reproduce. That means a baby calls. So just when they want to be normal and they want to be legit, there's also the problem where they also have to create an insurance policy. Every person in the world turns 80 years old and they're scared to death subconsciously in your little mind that goes into the dream world and can see your conference people. You can also see your life from now to the end of when you die. And you're just like, that's my problem spot right there. Everybody has the problem of when they die, who's going to be the one that takes care of them just in case the government falls to pieces, or who's going to make that extra phone call to put them in the nice home rather than the shit home because the neighbors got a hold of the problem that you fell down the stairs and now the neighbors are going to hook you up with a home to go into instead of a kid. Now, this is something that every person has to face in the dream world and come back out and be like, I don't know what age I want to do that. I'm really busy. But when you're in the sex room and then there's certain people that qualify in certain areas and then the check marks start getting written off and you're just like, but he's still not the right guy for me. If the government were to change and pay somebody for being able to do a drawing, pay somebody for being able to do a song, that is why you're not supposed to go. Because if the government shifts, you're wealthier than that guy. If you're wealthier than that guy, that outcome wouldn't have happened. So you're supposed to cease and desist. So don't try to figure it out when you're sitting in the audience. Just read a book. Try to pave your way forward and say, someday it'll get explained to me. I mean, it's just like in the movie Frozen 2. This will all make sense when I am older. Just move forward and break a path and then go through it and then just start waving high mentally to different people that are smarter than you and in a completely different industry. So that when the counselors get there and they say, well, then what did you do after that? Just stay there and have more sex? You can be the one that says, no, I started making calls by reading books so that when I go into the dream world, I can say, hello, I'm your biggest fan. That was amazing. You're smart. draw a picture. You know, I just downloaded a bunch of images off the internet about compilations of all the different eyeballs, compilations of all the different noses. Yeah, like, I guess they're just giving those away, and I was looking for books when I was a teenager for, like, ever about how I can draw better, and then there's basically an entire group of eyes, an entire group of noses and lips and ears and hairs to draw and practice. Your hands have memory. And when you do something and you trace it, it remembers and it becomes like a mechanical machine. And then I used to twist balloon animals. I don't know if people know this, but if you saw my Vegas video, you know. But I mean, I used to actually be a twister. My twin brother came home and he goes, "Curtis, guess what? Look at. And he showed me this black pouch and it had a bunch of balloons in it. Well, he showed me a purple blow-up thing that can blow up each balloon, and then he had this book, and he goes, "I met this guy. He's a balloon twister. He twisted all of the restaurants, and he said I can work there too. It's called Balloon Attractions." I'm like, "Cool." He goes, "You want to go with me?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "He made $150 last night." Yeah, I'll go. So I go, and me and Kenny are sitting there, and there's a guy that has his own apartment, and he's showing us one at a time how to grip it and then twist it and then do it like a teddy bear. And then I was surprised, but I took to it very, very, very quickly. In fact, by the time I left his apartment, I had the motions down and the twist down. Sometimes, you know, it's meant to be. And I could just twist, move, tie together, twist, move, tie together. And I could do them right there. But then the book helped you take the same sort of procedure, except how much air and how much different bubbles for, and then when you twist to this different animal, so on and so forth. So think of it, and so when I go to some restaurants, and I would go from table to table and ask if they wanted me to twist their girlfriend a balloon animal, or does anybody want a balloon animal, and then they would say yes, and then they would smile, and then I would twist their balloon animal, and he would give me $5, or the whole family would give me $20. I always remembered that. Now, ever since then, whenever I think about trying to tell somebody to take up drawing, I always like to say, well, once you learn how to do something, if you learn from these right here, because I didn't get the opportunity to have a book that showed me different eyes, girls' eyes, guys' eyes, girls' noses, guys' noses, lips. I didn't get an opportunity, but if I had, I would have taken it into consideration, and it probably would have been a lot like twisting balloon animals. So that when you see somebody, the more you practice when you're alone, okay, just as homework, if there was only a class in high school that was to teach everybody to just, not because you like it, not because it's fun, but because I say so and you need to pass the course or you're not going to get your diploma, how many of you by the end of that semester would learn that when they walk past, or that when they learn all of these different people and all of these different eyes and nose and mouths, that when they walk past people after that, they would identify quickly, and then they would actually say, "I could draw your face." Because the fear is gone. It's like, I actually have that in my pocket right now. So take that into consideration about what the possibilities are if you take where somebody else already did the invention for you by making someone's eye layered all the way down into a quick one-strike drawing of an eye. And you're just like, boom, that's it. Plus, it's got style points, that person's style points. You get to work off of somebody else's style of boom, and you can move forward. Now that you understand just what it is I'm getting at, do that when you're thinking you're sitting in the audience. You're just like, ha 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 ha. There's a lot of things that these counselors are going to say to you after you find out, after you complain about how you're messed up in the head. And then you started, because you realized that you got that much fucking done because your clothes were cool, you started wearing skinny jeans. Or you started wearing those parachute pants. You started looking ugly because you were so sad. You and everybody else. How many of you were ever going to say to any of these people, well, I started taking up drawing. I wanted to be a better person, sir. So, anyways, that's to answer the kids' questions. Like, what's going on here? They're knee-deep in shit. You don't want any piece of it. You get in any way you can that has you and your own devices, and you fantasize in your own brain about what it is you got to do, and you get it done, and you move out. If a girl hits you with a perfume because she doesn't know how to stay standing straight up, and she shows you the enchiladas, Make sure that her perfume that she blows at you, take care of on your own devices. Don't ask your dad for help. Don't ask your friends, what is a pee-pee? Why is it doing that? Don't laugh. Don't get drunk. Don't take some pills. Don't make a big joke and scene out of it. Just handle your own devices. She gave you a Valentine's gift. Move on with it. And this is getting more and more difficult as time is going on, but still do your best. And there's still some lingering. So anyways, so you're still just wondering, like, how is it to be funny? What is it like? How do you do it? I mean, I know you want to be an actor. You're not full of shit. You want to be like, what is different paradigms? Where's different bubbles? Which country? How do I do it? How does Dane do that? And that's kind of what it is I wanted to talk about, but in the next chapter. So I gotta stop it and restart it.